Okay, it's time to get serious right now. Hi vloggers, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk to you today about what you should do if your page views and engagement are down on your blog. I feel like this is something a lot of us struggle with, and it's something that people talk about a lot. I mean, we've all been there when we feel like nobody likes our blogs. I've felt that, I have definitely thought that sometimes, but in reality, you could probably be doing a few more of the right things to help you get one step closer to a breakthrough with your content, so it doesn't feel like no one is listening. And this was something that happened to me at one point last year. I was late getting a blog post out. It was supposed to go live the next morning, and I was rushing to get it out there. And then all of a sudden, I just stopped myself and thought, why? Like, why am I rushing so much to get this out? What is the purpose of it? It happens to all of us, especially in those early stages when you just feel like you're writing to no one for so long. But it doesn't matter how long you've been blogging for, whether it's months or years, your blog posts are doing great, your blog posts aren't doing great. No matter what situation you are in, you need to be prepared for the fact that this could happen, because social media and other platforms aren't that reliable. Like, you don't get to predict what the Instagram algorithm does next. You have to actually create something of value that your audience loves so much that they have to promote it for you. And if you don't do that, or the timing's not right and algorithms come into play, and not to mention how many blogs are actually out there, then you need to do some other things to make sure that it's going to work. So I want to go over a few things you can do when your page views and engagement aren't as good as you want them to be, whether they're below average or whether you just haven't quite come across your breakthrough yet. But the great thing about your blog is that you can really dig into your Google Analytics and have a look at how your blog posts are performing at various different times. You can usually tell how a blog post is going to be received by your audience either on the first day that it's published or within that first week, because your audience is going to let you know if it's something that they want, if it's something that they're interested in, and if they're going to drop everything to go and read that blog post right now. And with that group of people that you get to test it with, you could maybe look at their feedback or look at your stats and think, okay, maybe they haven't had time to read it right now, or maybe they haven't checked their feeds yet. But when you're not seeing any activity, or when you're seeing activity that's a lot lower than what you normally get, that's when you need to stop and say, okay, it's time to get serious right now. When this happened to me, I went to the one place that I always go to. I try and do this with all of my blog posts, and it is the one platform that I completely take advantage of because I have complete control over it, and that is my email list. I will go over to my ConvertKit account. My audience loves reading weekly emails from me. They love that method of communication. And at the bottom of the email, I'll just put a little note that says, hey, here's what you've missed on the blog. I'm more likely to do that with every single blog post that I write. And it's not just about, is this blog post doing well? It's more about the fact that I have made this for you, and if you haven't seen it, then that is my fault. I'm obviously not promoting it enough. So that's why I always share my blog posts with my email list. And you also have to keep in mind that some of your strategies, especially things like SEO and Pinterest marketing, they won't actually come into play until 3-4 months down the line. So if you're not constantly tracking your traffic and your blog posts, then you're not going to know whether your strategies are actually working or not. You don't want your blog post to be forgotten about. You want there to be a potential long-term play for your blog post, so that's why it's so important to track everything. So my email list is definitely one that I'll use to my advantage. Another thing you can do if you have absolutely no followers or readers and you're like, okay, this is pretty bad right now, is share it with your family and your friends, your inner circle. You should always have a small group of people that you can go to and be like, okay, I've written this blog post, I've put a lot of time and effort into it, and I really need help with it. Please, can you go and read it, comment on it, and share it with your community? When they do those three things, even if you get a couple of readers from that, then that still means that you're going to start from somewhere. And that's the same with your engagement too. So get those people and just let them know and say, hey, oh, please can you read this post on your lunch break, and then maybe come up with a comment that you can leave on the post. And then I'd really appreciate it if you shared it with your community and tell them why they should go and read it too, because I really need some help in letting people know that this is something worthwhile. I don't have to do this as often now, but I think it's a great idea, especially if you've got a piece of content in particular that you want to push out there more. Or on the flip side, if you have absolutely nothing to work with and you need all the help you can get. In those early stages especially, you should have like a tag team, like a group of people who are going to say to you, right, we're going to promote everything that you do because we think you're really, really cool. The next thing that I do, and this is something that you should do for all of your blog posts, is share it across your social media channels. It should be the first thing you tweet about that day. You should be sharing it multiple times across all of your platforms. And if you only get one person who reads your blog post because of your social media promotion, then so what? That is still one person who has taken the time to see what you've put on social media, go and read and engage with your post, and then hopefully even share it. So show your community that those people get special treatment. Go back to them and say, oh, thank you so much for reading this. Thank you so much for sharing this. Have a conversation with them. Every time you reply to a comment on social media, that's more engagement in your social media channels, and that directs right back to your blog and helps you increase your traffic. It all links together. Social proof is really great for showing all platforms that, okay, this deserves a little bit of love. But here is something you should not do. You should not spam people or buy followers if your online presence isn't doing well. There's been a lot of talk about this in the past. There are bots, there are followers, there are bad people out there. We're all aware of this. It is what it is. I know huge bloggers and Instagrammers that have done this, and I know smaller bloggers that have done it as well. In terms of any platform out there, I could never bring myself to buy followers. Like, I don't care if I only get one new follower every single month on Instagram for the rest of my life. I just could not bring myself to buy views or followers. I'm not going to chuck money at something that, one, doesn't work, and two, that I don't believe in. If it's my fault it didn't work, maybe I picked a post idea and people were just like, oh, Holly, you completely missed the mark with that one, didn't you? But it is, I'll do it again. I'll try it in a different way. It is what it is. But if you're going to buy followers to improve something that isn't working, then they're just going to be a bunch of random bot followers who are going to annoy the rest of your community by doing that whole follow, unfollow thing. So while you might get the numbers, they're not going to stick around, they're not going to engage, they're not going to add anything to your online presence. And the platforms know, and you know what's even worse, your audience knows too, and they don't like fake views or fake followers. Just don't do it. Actually learn from how you are communicating with people and see what you can do to get better at that. Robots are not the answer. Maybe they are real people, but the thing is, they are going to be doing exactly the same thing for thousands of other accounts out there. They have a very busy day ahead of them, not paying attention to any of your content on your blog or social channels. The last thing I'll say about what you should do if you're in this situation again, and maybe you put a blog post out there and it's doing better than normal, maybe you learned from your mistakes. Use that blog post to try and get more views and engagement on a previous blog post that didn't do as well. Call it out. Link to it in your blog post and say, if you want to go and read more about this topic, then make sure you go read this post. And I see loads of people saying, oh, can you just go and check my website to see if my latest blog post is showing up for you? Or can you just check your subscriber box to see if my latest video shows up? That's transparency. They are fine with that. Their audience is fine with that. And they're probably just like, oh, well, it didn't really have much interest for me. Or, oh, I just haven't had time to go and check my feed yet. Use a new blog post to get more attention on a previous blog post. It's just internal linking. It's like a more authentic way of getting people to go and read your content. Those are my thoughts on what you should do if your page views and engagement are down. Let me know your thoughts. What do you usually do in this situation? How do you get noticed online? It's a noisy world out there and we've got to work hard to get noticed. So leave that in the comments below. That's all for today, vloggers. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it as always. Make sure you subscribe for more tips and tricks. And remember, build it and they will come doesn't always work. You have to work hard to get noticed so you can get one step closer to a breakthrough. See you next time. I got quite into that then. I really did.